We're in conversation today with Mr. Anmol Jain from Lumax. Anmol, thank you so much for taking all the time and speaking to Autocat.
Thank you, Mayank. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Want to start off first, with this big relief that the sector has gotten in terms of the GST rationalization. I think it always was a key recommendation from ACMA's side towards it for the government, to make it a standardized GST rate. So your quick comments on that.
I think it's a big shift and a very positive move by the government. I think we've been talking about it, as you mentioned, for a long time, but to make it a much more simplified structure. And I think the government has definitely come and supported the industry. I see it as a big positive shift, specifically for small cars, which I think had lost its sheen over the last few years. So I think it should definitely benefit that particular segment. But overall, including two-wheelers, including even for the bigger SUVs, I think all in all, there should be a better demand going forward. And hence, I'm hoping that the industry starts to report a much better growth rate in the coming times.
Would you want to quantify that? I mean, we're just on the verge of the festive season right now, and you mentioned small cars and two-wheelers, and Lumax is a key player in that particular, in those two segments, when you're one of the key suppliers on a majority of the products in those two categories. So are you looking at some sort of a revision in terms of the growth outlook for this fiscal?
So I think many OEMs have also gone, and I think Maruti Suzuki has also perhaps gone and said this publicly, from a negative growth, which the small car segment has been witnessing for some time, let's say year to date, current year. I believe they're looking at a shift of a positive 6 to 8%. So that's a massive shift. I think it's about a 12 to 15% jump over where we stand today. So we're eagerly looking forward to that. But I think if I look at Bhargav Saab's statement, he's always said that for India, the small car segment cannot be ignored. It is something which fits between the two-wheelers and, let's say, the higher capacity passenger vehicles. So I think there is a lot of merit in what he says, and I think time will tell, but we're looking forward to a much healthier growth rate, maybe for H2, and then perhaps definitely for FY27. I think it will, have the right foundation set in the current financial year.
Sure. If I talk to you about, some key technological trends or market trends in your product category, which is core is lighting, what are the, future trends that you see coming and shaping this sector perhaps over the next 5 years, which I think would be a reasonable timeline to talk about it?
So I think technology is evolving and very rapidly changing. I think if I look at specifically 2 or 3 product lines, which Lumax is right now a leader in, let's say lighting systems, I think from a pure functional part, lighting has come of age and now it's become an aesthetic part, very integral to the vehicle styling. And I think going forward, it will get a lot of safety features, with sensors, with cameras, giving real-time commands to the driver for, again, pedestrian safety, collision systems, integrating a lot of ADAS technologies. So really, a lot of work is happening at the back end. I always say external lighting commands all the 4 premium corners of a vehicle. So you can actually leverage that and do a lot more with respect to safety and real-time interface with the driver. So I think a lot will happen over the next 5 years. And again, it will lead from the passenger vehicles, according to me, and then make its way into perhaps the two-wheeler space as well. On the interior systems, I think a lot is happening specifically on lightweighting, premiumization, and sustainability. And I think there again, Lumax, through its business of IAC, is one of the leading manufacturers of interior systems. And there again, we're seeing a lot of human-machine interface, a lot of digitization which is taking place. And again, interior cabin space, I personally feel that China is still years ahead in terms of some of the trends and technologies that there are on the models in China. And for that purpose, we as a group will be also putting up a resource center in China by end of this calendar year. And idea is again to try and access new technologies, new trends, both for exterior and interior products, bring them into India, and also act as a optimized sourcing center because we still continue to buy a lot from China.
There's also this concern, which has been plaguing the Indian automotive sector per se, is this restrained resource availability in terms of the magnets from China. Does that impact Lumax as a group, or do you think that you're able to circumnavigate that particular challenge and you have a smooth run going forward?
So, man, directly there is zero impact because we are not into any EV critical products.
Right.
However, indirectly, of course, we do have positions on multiple EV platforms. Most of our products are EV agnostic, but if there are production cuts on particular models, which we've seen in the recent past,
Right.
of course, indirectly we get affected. But answering to your question directly, no, we do not have any presence of any rare earth magnets in any of our product portfolio.
Right, right. You mentioned about, technology, lighting becoming more intensive and more, technological oriented going forward. What does that entail for Lumax? In terms of your product development, your R&D, what are the areas that you are, strengthening right now so that as to cater to that particular market requirement in the near future?
So I think for lighting specifically, there is accelerated inclusion of electronics
Right.
in the lighting systems. And for that reason, I think we're really, really accelerating the pace of our electronic capability, both from electronic engineers, designing, and integrating it with the whole lighting system.
Right.
I think traditionally, lighting has been more mechanical focused, and I think that's fast changing. So that's
Right.
specifically on lighting. But I think as a group, what we're trying to position ourselves specifically for Lumax Technologies is try to move up the ladder from a tier 1 to a tier 0.5.
Okay.
And for that, we have a basket of products, which I call it like hardware. Unless and until those are integrated with software, which literally communicates with the vehicle architecture,
Right.
we will not be able to sell it as a bundled solution
Right.
and move up the value chain.
Right.
So for that, we're also setting up a software development center in Bangalore by end of this fiscal year. And that purely the job is to try and get the software capability, software skills, so that our hardware can be integrated with a software which can then be packaged as a system integrator,
Right.
a system solution,
Right.
rather than an individual component
Right.
being sent to our OEMs.
Right. So what's the roadmap for that vision, Anmol? You're setting up a software center in Bangalore, you're setting up a resource center in China. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of synergy in between these two centers, and you're going to be doubling down on product development, for catering to the market needs. So where do you see the first product from these two centers, really coming out and giving you an edge in the market?
So I would say this, from China, I think as early as possibly in FY27, we will be able to get certain technology tie-ups done, which will possibly make its way into India perhaps over the next 2 years.
Okay.
That's clearly on the cards, and I think we've made some, progress, some traction there. We've shortlisted a few companies, few technologies where we see that there is a strong merit. In terms of the Bangalore software, I think the idea is to at least by sometime beginning of next financial year, have certain POCs showcased to our OEMs in terms of how we are enhancing the value content by integrating software. And I think once we're able to demonstrate that, thereafter we will see the whole product development lead time. But definitely in the next 2 years to 3 years time frame, I see Lumax considerably changing itself from being a tier 1 component manufacturer to becoming a tier 0.5 system integrator.
Right. Would you then also try and leverage those kind of competencies to also export out of India to mature markets like Europe, for example?
So exports, frankly, is not on the top of our priority. I think I firmly believe in the India growth story. And we've been growing and we wish to continue to grow at a 20% CAGR. To manage that growth itself, it will throw up a lot of challenges.
Right.
So we want to have a laser sharp focus of all our resources for the India market to try and really squeeze every possible opportunity there is before we start looking outwards. But along the way, if some opportunities do come up overseas, we're open to definitely looking at them and seeing how we can service those opportunities. But the priority remains for the India market.
Sure. And what's the kind of investment roadmap that you have to enable or materialize this 20% CAGR vision?
So I think as a group, we should be looking anywhere between 300 to 350 crores of capex on an annualized basis.
Okay.
Largely for brownfield expansions and a lot of product development capex.
Okay.
I do not envisage any significant investments on greenfield manufacturing plants, at least over the next 18 months.
Right.
And if the momentum and the growth continues, then we'll see we've got enough land bank today to try and give birth to another greenfield facility.
Right.
But we're slowly moving towards this whole concept of mega plants,
Right.
where we're trying to bring multiple products under one roof to try and optimize the cost, optimize the resources, and again, from one location, be able to serve multiple products to our OEMs.
But won't logistics become a challenge in that scenario?
In fact, it brings you a lot of economies of scale.
Okay.
So even logistics works much better. But these are mega plants which will be again catering to few OEMs in that geographical region. We will not be doing this cross country.
Understood.
But again, mega hubs like let's say Haryana or Gujarat, where we see the first few mega plants coming in.
Right. We're also seeing, some activity which is aligned in the Maharashtra belt in terms of, OEMs like Hyundai and now Toyota, planning to set up their manufacturing setups there. So in alignment with that, does Lumax also have some plans to go into those regions?
Oh, absolutely. I think Maharashtra, we've got the maximum concentration of plants in one state.
Okay.
And again, I think with time, we will also be able to rationalize, consolidate, and perhaps adopt the whole mega plant strategy in the Maharashtra region as well, for sure.
Right. And, we're also seeing the foray of players like VinFast into India. Tesla is also already in the country. So how do you see this, space? I mean, this particular, evolution. I mean, do you see this as huge potential for a company like Lumax?
So I think for now, of course, there's a lot of action happening in the EV space.
Right.
But I think primarily still they're dependent on either the CBU route or the KD route.
Correct.
I think the localization will still take some time, and it really depends on the critical mass in terms of the volume offtake.
True.
So as I said, I think there are enough products that Lumax can offer, which are EV agnostic. But we'll start from there, and then if the whole EV transition was to really, really, spice up, then we'll see if there is something to do with EV critical products. But we bet pretty big on alternate fuels. Recently, we got into the CNG space. And as you know, CNG overtook diesel last year.
Yeah.
So we're quite bullish on the CNG expansion over the next 5 years. And I think it's in line with what OEMs like Maruti Suzuki or Tata Motors or even Hyundai, for that matter, have suggested that they want to really expand their CNG portfolio.
Right. Anmol, thank you so much. Wish you all the best for your future.
Thank you, man. Always a pleasure. Thank you.